Ramakrishna te namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityoramamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, who came to establish the religion universal, the embodiment of all religions in the world, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel on Tuesdays. I am dealing with the subject, the 5 commandments of Sri Ramakrishna. 1. Repeat God's name and His glories. Secondly, keep holy company. Thirdly, it is more necessary to go into solitude now and then and think of God. Fourth, you should always discriminate between the real and the unreal. The last one, which I am dealing today, that is, do all your duties but keep your mind on God. This is the 5th commandment given by Sri Ramakrishna. If we follow these teachings with full faith and devotion, with all sincerity, you are sure to realize the truth in this life itself. That means in order to follow these commandments, you need to follow discipline and no room for laziness. So every moment is very important. So once you are following these instructions sincerely, you will see how God's help comes to you in so many ways and inspires you to go forward, to move forward in the spiritual path. So the 5th commandment, which Sri Ramakrishna had said, do all your duties but keep your mind on God. Duties, again there are categories. One is secular duties, which people ordinarily meticulously follow, but they totally neglect the spiritual duties. So here duties meant that whatever the scriptures, the teachers have said, must be followed. Master Mahashaya, he asked Sri Ramakrishna, Master, how are we to live in the world? Sri Ramakrishna answered. These are all in the Gospel. Sri Ramakrishna said, do all your duties, but keep your mind on God. Live with all, with wife and children, father and mother, and serve them. Treat them as if they were very dear to you. But know in your heart of hearts that they really do not belong to you. That means Sri Ramakrishna is teaching that our focus should be on God. So everything should be looked upon as the manifestation of God. So that we should always maintain in our attitude. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. A maid servant in the house of a rich man performs all the household duties, but her thoughts are fixed on her own home in her native village. She brings up her master's children as if they were her own. She even speaks of them as my Rama or my Hari. But in her own mind, she knows very well that they do not belong to her at all. Sri Ramakrishna gives another example. The tortoise moves about in the water, but can you guess where her thoughts are? There on the bank where her eggs are laying. So, do all your duties in the world, but keep your mind on God. If you enter the world without first cultivating love for God, you will be entangled more and more. You will be overwhelmed with its danger, with its grief and its sorrows. And the more you think of worldly things, the more you will be attached to them. This was the fifth commandment of Sri Ramakrishna. So previously we had discussed the practice of discrimination. The natural corollary of discrimination is detachment. Viveka Vairagya in Sanskrit. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Viveka Vairagya. These are two wings, very important to fly into spiritual realm. So, discrimination without detachment is useless. Every spiritual aspirant ultimately learns that he has to live in this world with detachment. It is the very cornerstone of spiritual progress. Because Duryodhana was deeply attached to power, position, he lost all balance of mind. And finally, he destroyed himself on account of these negative qualities. So, this teaching do all your duties but keep your mind on God. It contains three important points. One must perform one's duties diligently with reverence and love. Secondly, one must never forget that no one in this world belongs to him except God. Thirdly, without acquiring love for God and some amount of detachment, it is impossible not to be overwhelmed by attachments and cares. Most of the spiritual aspirants in this world are householders. They have multiple duties. Sometimes they may be frustrated to accomplish all the duties they have to do. So much responsibilities, followed by inevitable worries. If one does not know how to detach the mind, at least to some extent, it's impossible to focus the mind on God. Sri Ramakrishna gives such devotees clear and definite guidance. One must discharge one's duties with great love and care. No one can attain the state of inaction except by going through the field of action. For most people, it is not possible to sit quiet. The field of action strengthens one's character. Right attitude, concentration, tranquility, and devotion. With these, every action is transformed into spiritual practice. Sri Ramakrishna's advice to serve one's parents, etc., with great love and reverence, as if they were very dear to you, is not make-believe. He is merely cautioning us not to fall into the trap of attachment. Many devotees think that they are serving their parents, family, etc. with detachment. This is pure self-deception. When things are going on well, they think they are progressing spiritually. But let there be slight trouble, immediately they are overwhelmed. The test of detachment can be found in tranquility of mind. True devotees, under difficult situations, not only remain tranquil, but depend all the more on God. That's why Sri Ramakrishna's advice is so very important. This was the advice given in the Gita by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Every religion emphasizes the practice of detachment. At the same time, detachment must not make us cold, callous, and insensitive to others' pain and feeling. Swami Vivekananda says, there are men who are never attracted by anything. They can never love. They are hard-hearted and apathetic. They escape most of the miseries of life. But the wall never feels misery. The wall never loves. It is never hurt. But it is a wall after all. Surely, Swamiji says, it is better to be attached and caught than to be a wall. We do not want that. That is weakness. That is death. Spiritual aspirants also must be careful not to overdo their duties. In the name of obligations and duties, it is possible to go beyond all reason, to fall into the net of Maya. Often, Maya masquerades in the form of Daya. Sri Ramakrishna used to call impure love Maya and pure love Daya. According to him, there is a great deal of difference between Daya, compassion, and Maya, attachment. Daya is good, but not Maya. Maya is love for one's relatives, one's family, brother, sister, nephew, father and mother. But Daya is the same love for all created beings without any distinction. Again, Maya entangles man and turns him away from God. A person who is deeply attached to his own circle, he never even for a moment think of God. But through Daya, one realizes God. Devotees are required to develop Daya, but not Maya. So one should have a clear idea of one's obligations and duties and how to perform them. A question by M makes this clear. How long, Master, have I obligations to the family? That's a very important question. Sri Ramakrishna answered, look, so long as the family is not provided with enough to maintain itself. But if your children can support themselves, you have no more duty to them. To some household devotees, Sri Ramakrishna said, you look upon money only as a means of getting food, clothes and shelter, of worshipping the deity and serving sadhus and devotees. But it is wrong to hoard it. Bees labor hard to build their hives, but man comes and robs them. You need not renounce lust completely, but after few children are born, you and your wife should live like brother and sister. Second point, Sri Ramakrishna clarifies. No one really belongs to anyone in this world. A Sanskrit poem says, just as twigs being carried away by the current in a river come near and again get separated, so also people come near and get separated according to the results of their past actions. This is absolutely true. If we look back into our past, we can realize how true this statement is. The one and only eternal companion of our life is God alone. We learn this truth only after much suffering. Every being in this world is journeying towards God, the final destination of all. The journey comes to an end only when we reach Him. Therefore, all the unions and separations in this world are only accidental and meant only to help us develop vairagya and bhakti. Until we learn our lessons, we will be presented with same situations and difficulties. Hence, Sri Ramakrishna's advice that we should never forget that no one belongs to us except God. Always consider that your family concerns are not yours, they are God's. And you are His servant come here to obey His commands. When this idea becomes firm, there remains nothing indeed that a man may call his own. Third point, Sri Ramakrishna clarifies, it is not easy to believe that only God belongs to us unless one acquires some amount of devotion to Him. This is possible only through constant, unremitting practice for a long time. With faith in one's Guru and in the teachings of scriptures, one should carry on with regular practice of japa, prayer and service. In course of time, the mind gets purified and the seed of devotion grows slowly. If one has devotion to God, then there is nothing to fear or worry about. Devotion itself takes possession and unerringly guides the devotee in all matters. Even under trying circumstances, devotees keep their balance. In fact, the more the troubles, the more would be their longing and reliance on God. The more they experience pain, the more they feel the insubstantiality of this world. Difficulties increase their detachment further. Thus, slowly but surely, they progress until they reach Him and become blessed. We have discussed the 5 commandments of Sri Ramakrishna in considerable detail. Undoubtedly, anyone who sincerely tries to put into practice these 5 commandments will make spiritual progress and will realize God. Hear, ye children of immortal bliss, even ye that reside in higher spheres. I have found the Ancient One, who is beyond all darkness, all delusion. Knowing Him alone, you shall be saved from death over again. So, most important factor for us to focus upon is that Viveka and Vairagya, they are most important to be followed. It has got immense value, the value of detachment. There is a story. There is a prince by name Ardrak of Persia and a prince by name Abhaya of Rajgriha. So these 2 princes, they developed friendship through the exchange of letters and presents. One day, Ardrak decided to meet his friend Abhaya. Ardrak requested his father to let him undertake a journey to Rajgriha. But Ardrak's father refused to go because it was too difficult journey. Ardrak, however, he was restless. He strongly resolved that he should go to Rajgriha. So he hit upon a plan. Once he was going on a trip to some place, followed by 500 attendants. So he gave a slip to them in a jungle. He separated himself from his companions and proceeded further all alone. At last he reached a town named Lakshmipur and became a monk in the heat of intense vairagya. As a monk, he continued his ramblings and reached the town of Basantapur. He stood in the posture of Kayotsarga in a temple there, some yogic posture. At that time, Dhanashri, the daughter of a rich townsperson, was playing there with her friends. She saw this tapasvi Ardrak engrossed in meditation, and mentally she decided to make him her husband. Dhanashri returned home and Ardrak went elsewhere. When Dhanashri was of marriageable age, she said to her father, "Father, I will marry the same monk as I have decided long ago." The father told her, "How can we locate a monk whom we don't know and who is quite unfamiliar with us? How would it be possible for us to give you to him in marriage?" Dhanashri did not budge an inch from her decision. When the problem of recognizing the Muni arose, She simply said, I will recognize him. Her father made arrangements to find him, and Dhanashri began distributing alms to monks and nuns daily. Finally, when the Tapasvi Ardrak reached there, Dhanashri recognized him and informed her father, who soon came there and pleaded to the monk, O holy monk, the life of my daughter depends upon you. Please accept her as your bride, or else she will languish to death. You will be held responsible for the death of a girl, and for this you may run into difficulties. The innocent Ardrak got entangled in the net of her father's wishes, agreed to marry her. Ardrak and Dhanashri were married amidst great pomp and show, and they began to live together thereafter. After some years, Dhanashri gave birth to a son. The son grew up. Ardrak again decided to renounce the household. It was burning desire in him that he should get away from all these involvements and attachments. When Dhanashri knew his intention, she became sad, but knew that Ardrak was firm in his decision. Seeing his mother's tearful eye, her son asked her, Mother, why are you weeping? Dhanashri replied, Your father is leaving both of us to live the life of a monk. He is going away. He won't be with us anymore. The son said, Well, how can my father go? I shall tie him so that he cannot go away. The son got up and tied his father with cotton thread. Ardrak, a man of wisdom, he saw that his son had encircled his body with the thread 12 times. He was greatly moved by the affection of his son and decided to remain a householder for 12 more years. Completing the 12th year, he got himself initiated with his wife's permission and once again left for Rajgriha. When he arrived there, Prince Abhay Kumar was wonderstruck to learn of his friend's adventures. Ardrak stayed there for a short period and then went to meet Lord Mahavira, the great Jain saint. In the concluding phase of his life, Ardrak attained liberation through deep meditation and penance, which he could do only when he was totally detached from all family obligations. Anyway, when Arjun put a question to Krishna, Oh Krishna, the mind is very difficult to control. It is like controlling the wind. Shri Krishna answered him, Look, there is a way. It can be controlled only through the practice of Viveka Vairagya. You have to practice it. So, let us try to follow all these 5 commandments of Sri Ramakrishna, which are very valuable and full of spiritual content. If we follow these, surely we realize the truth and we'll be really happy, and we can share that happiness with others. So this concludes the 5 commandments of Sri Ramakrishna. Page 862, Master said, a man need not fear anything if but once he receives the grace of God, if but once he obtains the vision of God, if but once he attains self-knowledge, then the 6 passions cannot do him any harm. Eternally perfect souls like Narad and Prahlad did not have to take the trouble to put blinkers on their eyes. The child who holds his father's hand while walking along the narrow buck in the paddy field may loosen his hold in a moment of carelessness and slip into the ditch, but it is quite different if the father holds the child's hand. Then the child never falls into the ditch. Doctor said, but it is not proper for a father to hold his child by the hand. Master said, it is not quite like that. Great sages have childlike natures. Before God, they are always like children. They have no pride. Their strength is the strength of God, the strength of their Father. They have nothing to call their own. They are firmly convinced of that. Doctor said, can you make a horse move forward without first covering his eyes with blinkers? Can one realize God without first controlling the passions? Master said, what you say is according to the path of discrimination. It is known as Jnana Yoga. Through that path, too, one attains God. The Jnanis say that an aspirant must first of all purify his heart. First he needs spiritual exercises, then he will attain knowledge. But God can also be realized through the path of devotion. Once the devotee develops love for the lotus feet of God and enjoys the singing of his name and attributes, he doesn't have to make a special effort to restrain his senses. For such a devotee, the sense organs come under control of themselves. Suppose a man has just lost his son and is mourning his death. Can he be in a mood to quarrel with others that very day or enjoy a feast in the house of a friend? Can he that very day show his pride before others or enjoy sense pleasures? If the moth discovers light, can it remain in darkness any longer? Doctor said with a smile, of course it cannot. It would rather fly into the flame and perish. Sri Ramakrishna answered, oh no, that's not so. A lover of God does not burn himself to death like a moth. The light to which he rushes is like the light of a gem. The light is brilliant, no doubt, but it is also cooling and soothing. That light doesn't scorch his body, it gives him joy and peace. One realizes God by following the path of discrimination and knowledge. But this is an extremely difficult path. It's easy enough to say such things as, I am not the body, mind and or intellect. I am beyond grief, disease and sorrow. I am the embodiment of existence, knowledge, this absolute. I am beyond pain and pleasure. I am not under the control of these sense organs. But it is very hard to assimilate these ideas and practice them. Suppose I see my hand cut by a thorn and blood gushing out. Then it is not right for me to say, why? My hand is not cut by the thorn. I am all right. In order to be able to say that, I must first of all burn the thorn itself in the fire of knowledge. Many people think they cannot have knowledge or understanding of God without reading books, but hearing is better than reading and seeing is better than hearing. Hearing about Benares is difficult from reading about it, but seeing Benares is different from either hearing or reading. We shall stop here. Any discussion, any questions? See, the concept of duty is to be understood in a very clear way, because people do all sorts of things and call them as duties. That's one thing. And sometimes they are committed to do certain things. Again, they may consider them as duties. But when he has to devote some time for devotional practices such as worship, meditation, and doing some selfless activity, immediately he is finding a lot of difficulties, and he will not be able to do any of such things. The point is, why we call certain things, sometimes certain things are imposed on us. Sometimes we ourselves become responsible for involving in such things. But Sri Ramakrishna says one should be careful enough not to increase the duties and responsibilities in such a way that he would be totally exhausted and cannot think of anything other than what he is engaged doing things. So the focus is, if you are able to think of God while performing all the duties which you have called them as duties, then it's okay. But normally it doesn't happen that way. The moment you bring the idea of God, it follows that everything must be done perfectly, properly, with all sincerity. And people do certain activities because they get something in return positively. Generally, people involved in such activities which bring them monetary benefits. But then you should have some limit. How far you go? There is no end for earning more and more money. The more money you earn, the more urge will come. You want little more, little more, little more. You can't be satisfied. Not only that, what will happen? The more the man becomes wealthy, there's tendency to develop all types of vices, bad qualities. So he indulges in very shameful actions. So all these things are coming because of getting the wealth beyond the requirement. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna says, just earn the money to the extent to live your life properly. Don't go beyond that. My great grandchildren should live, and don't go on building properties everywhere. In all the 22 states in America, I must have land. And name should come in the newspaper. The first richest man in the whole world. What do you gain by that? It's not simply possessing the property. You have to protect it. All the time you have to be worrying about all those properties. One person had a vineyard near Ganges. I was amazed how a person could get that land, vineyard, all the way in Ganges, Michigan State. That person was living in here in Chicago. And every time he would think, I have to go and see my vineyard, how it is like that. So part of the mind is constantly worrying about his vineyard. And part of his time is allotted to take care of that vineyard. I'm just giving the example. So So if a person has got so much of wealth and so much of property, where is the place for the mind to think of God, and how can you really understand the importance of renunciation? It's only a word, meaningless word. Because he's possessing all those things. That possessiveness, that distracts you from going towards God. That's why we are taught to practice renunciation. The practice of renunciation means to get rid of this possessiveness. If you want to entertain that idea of possessiveness, feel that you are possessed by God. I don't possess anything. My every bit of it belongs to God. That concept you must cherish in your mind. You must develop some love and devotion. In the beginning stage you have to strive very hard, because to develop taste is not easy. But it's not difficult if you practice it properly. So a person in his childhood, if he keeps on taking chili, when he grows up, he loves chili like anything. Same way, if a person takes sweets in the childhood, in his older days, he loves to eat sweets. He's disappointed if the sweets are not given. So, it all depends upon your liking. Same way, you have to like. I want to see God. I want to realize the truth. I want to find the misery of this, the mystery of this world. What is all this life and death, etc. So much of chaos in the whole world. Chaos are created by us. Us means by our minds. Our mind full of impurities, raga, dvesh, attachment, aversion, jealousy, hatred, all sorts of things multiply. So, it's a clash. We are just clashing to get nothing. We are clashing ourselves to break our mind, and we are going far away from truth, so we are suffering more and more. So the only way to get over the suffering is to develop love and devotion to God, and feel you are the instrument of God, and use proper discrimination, as Sri Ramakrishna says. What is good, what is bad. Be in the company of holy people and read holy scriptures. Develop moral and ethical character. Then you will be wonderful. So you have to make yourself. If you don't try to make yourself, then nobody can help. Nobody can help. You have to help yourself. If you are struggling to help yourself, God's help will come to you in immense ways. But if you don't aspire that way, then God also keeps silent. So God is in our own heart, true. But if you don't like to see God in your heart, naturally, how can you expect peace and happiness? So going towards God means withdrawing yourself from all external distractions and focusing, concentrating on the divine consciousness in the heart. The more and more we come towards God means the more and more you are practicing renunciation. So any thought that comes in the mind that distracts you from God must be taken out. So taking out such thoughts and focusing on the spiritual ideas and values, that is renunciation. Otherwise you get involved, you get more and more involved, and there is no end for involvement. And you have no strength to put a period, because you become more and more crazy. You love to have more and more, there is no satisfaction. So it ends up in some kind of disappointment, desperation. But there are the results. of such things. They are the fruits of worldly entanglements. Worldly entanglements yield desperation, frustration, disappointment, sufferings. The idea is you have to learn. One can have only through holy company, only through proper discipline, diverting the senses in a right direction. These are the methods. Any more questions? No. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Old name streams down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O soul, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that mocks our very souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when instant separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe being satisfied.